Having seen how the other side live in the professional world of the Radio Lead Studios in episode 22, we are back in the Andy Takes That Chance studio / my utility room, and we welcome you back to the Andy Takes That Chance podcast.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Coming up in this episode, we will talk about Chelsea away. Kosi left early. Were you encouraged or worried about what you saw? We've opened up to social media, and this week you set the agenda. Thank you once again for getting in touch, and we definitely wouldn't do this without all of your brilliant and fantastic interaction. So thank you very much. So in the studio / utility room today, we have media moonlighter Neil Wayne and friend of the stars Richard Kosmala, and a late addition is cartoonist Danny G.
That's a long time ago, that.
Good evening.
Hi.
So, chaps, I want to start the podcast with us finally having some great news. Dean Hoyle is on the road to recovery. It's been quite difficult on the podcast to not reference this when you're involved in talking off the cuff, and you might hear one or two things inside from friends of friends, etc. But I'm pleased finally that the club have announced what's happened, and even happier that the outpouring of support across the entire football community, including people like Henry Winter, etc., and all of the football supporters have, come together and wished him well, which is fantastic. It's easy to see that, he's one of the most loved chairmen in the game. So the very best of health to you, Dean. And if you're ever at a loose end, you are 100% welcome to come on here and have a chat. I'll even kick Neil out of the heated, vibrating massage chair for one episode.
I'll happily move.
Anything on that, guys?
I think you've covered it all, really. It's just absolutely fantastic news to know he's back on mend. It's been a bit of a frustrating time as a fan. If we had a bit of an idea that there's always not well. And when you see some of the vitriol that's been posted on Twitter about town in general and Dean himself, with what's been going on over the last couple of months results wise, it was a tough one to keep quiet and sort of hold as counsel, but glad it's broken now, glad he's on the mend, and hopefully we'll see him back in the ground soon.
Yeah, obviously the season's been a bit of a disaster, but obviously when the talk about Dean's health and that as well, my focus kind of went away from football. So absolutely fantastic news to hear. That he's even maybe thinking of coming to the game on Saturday against Arsenal. What can we say about that, man? You wouldn't rule him out of the bike ride knowing Dean isn't, what he's done to the club. The guy, yeah, he's given us the best times. I just think, like he said on his message, he's got to put his health first, but you could still feel in that statement that it's all about town. The guy's just Huddersfield Town through and through, and yeah, it was brilliant to read that. And yeah, I don't think he needed to say it, to be honest with you, but I know, Matt, you said it was welcome and what have you, but a bit like the Steve Bruce thing, maybe might come on to later on. I don't like it, when kind of, people give stuff about the private. That's private business, but I think, yeah, go on, Danny.
I think your problem is, I've had a couple of people come up to me and say, "Oh, what's up with your chairman?" And they've thrown sort of other stuff, saying, "Oh, I've heard this and I've heard that," and I've sort of said, "Well, I don't think it's that, but I've not heard anything." So I think something needed putting out just because of rumours, really.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful to see, and like you said, Matt, simply the biggest positive in Huddersfield Town for a long time, in my opinion. Just hearing Dean's on the.
Okay, so we'll move on from Dean, and all of us wish you the very best of health.
Absolutely.
And we're going to start moaning about Premier League football, which is something we would never have seen if it wasn't for him. So,
And every single one of you should never forget, it doesn't count how big you are. It doesn't count how experienced you are. It doesn't count how nice you are. If you have passion, desire, you have no limits. No limits.
5-0 away at Chelsea. Kosi, you didn't like what you saw.
Well, I knew what we were going to get. Let's be honest. I was telling my mum when I went round on Friday night, she said, what's going to happen tomorrow? Richard said 5-0 Chelsea. Bad that, innit, when you're saying that. But the lads got off the bus. We got there at 2:20 and we were walking right slow. You were almost as like as if no one wanted to go in. And one of the lads shouted out, it's just like we're going to a public execution here. It just felt like that, and just no fun, really, watching Huddersfield Town. And as soon as we get in the ground, obviously the game starts, and it's almost like watching a DVD of every single other game. We start off all right, an amazing chance for Adam Moy. Whether it made any difference in the long run, I don't know. But you could just see like the deflation on the guys, kind of hands on hips, hands on heads. Here we go again, because obviously that was a great chance. And yeah, to me, it were all a matter of how much Chelsea were really going to be up for it. Obviously, they came on the back of that disaster at Bournemouth on Wednesday night. I thought we have been unlucky with a lot of them kind of things where, like, Everton lost at Millwall in the Cup, so they're going to be up for it. Chelsea, I knew, even though some people were saying, well, hang on a minute, Hazard, there might be a protest against Sarri on the pitch, kind of in the players. I thought, no, that ain't going to happen. And yeah, it's bad, really, when you're just thinking, it all depends on their mood to how the result goes rather than anything positive we can do. We're just in such a mess at the moment.
So, Neil, me and you didn't go because we're a pair of part-timers, obviously.
That's it, yeah.
One tweet that came in, so at HTFC Dreams has sent us loads of tweets, so thank you very much for getting in touch. And one thing that they have said, which I was going to mention as well, is that I thought the fans were excellent on Saturday. I know there's 1,500 fans down there. Whether that's a sellout or not, we'll gloss over. But watching it on the internet, one thing you could constantly hear: 5 goals against, Town fans singing away, smile a while in the corner. I thought that was brilliant, to be honest. It's very easy just to get downtrodden and just sit there with your thumb in your mouth, isn't it? But I thought they were really, really brilliant, a top class, and hopefully those that went get to see something better soon.
You can't fault fans, can you, to be fair? Especially, those who travel away week in, week out. We've done it, we've done as miles. Make your own entertainment, to be fair, because if we're being brutal about it, there's not a lot on pitch to get entertained about, is there?
I think the fans have been brilliant this year, Neil. And yeah, you mentioned there in the Twitter, the vitriol. I mean, I hope it doesn't go on to social media, but at the stadiums, with the drill that we've been served up for most of the season, I mean, you've got your hardcore down there who are pretty much going to go for a London a day out weekend or a good drink or what have you, so they're going to make the best of it. You've got your 1,500 hardcore, but like the home game against Everton, we touched obviously on it last week, but I thought they were really good considering we were really poor. Honestly, I've been impressed with our fans, and I thought they might be
fans can't be faulted. I think
stuff. Yeah,
the big telling point will be August next year. Regardless of how many's in ground, I think the absolute crucial for next season is to start well. And obviously it's looking forward a bit from where we are now, but after a year of sort of being going one behind and thinking, well, that's us done, which is pretty much fact. I think we need to start next season with a bit of a bounce, and it can't all be about relying on crowd to do it.
So the new manager, Jan Sievert, 4-3-3 seems to be the blueprint to what he's trying to do. 5 changes, Neil. It looks like he's having a good look around the side to see what he's got, and one message that came in was Tommy Smith or Eric Durm ahead of Flo at present. For me, this is from at HTFC Dreams again. For me, yes, Flo is young and maybe unfairly was playing in midfield at times under David Wagner. His defensive aspects have weakened, not stopping crosses and going to ground too early, etc. Flo's 25 shortly. He's not young anymore. Not in football in terms, and he seems to get a lot of slack for that, not just from HTFC Dreams, but you look around and people always seem to say Flo's quite young and up and coming, whereas Mounier, Abenza and Diakabi are all younger than him and seem to get a lot of stick, or they don't get the slack.
I think it's probably because he looks 12 years old, to be honest.
He does. Derm's badly out of form, Neil. To me,
I know we've lost 5-0, but this is going to sound ridiculous considering I've just said we've lost 5-0, but that's our best back four that started game on Saturday. You've got Smith and Lerver and them two at centre back.
We've got the follow-up question as well. Was Zanka's got the highest interceptions but probably most mistakes. Do you think he was fairly, we'll say, rotated for your benefit, Neil?
Yes.
The one thing that stood out for me, Matt, on Sunday when I watched the highlights, and again, he's got away with it probably because of his amazing track record. I thought Christopher Schindler were awful again on Saturday. I thought 4 of the goals out of 5, he looked slow. There were guys bombing past him. He looked, as we all know, a shadow of his former self, and I hate to kind of, go on player after player, but it's alarmed me, and the only positive I can kind of see with the form, and that we've probably got a good chance of keeping him next season, because he's better than that. But
I've been thinking about this.
We were dancing around him on Saturday, mate.
Quite a bit, and so David Wagner has left because he's suffering from mental fatigue. That's well renowned. We respect that. We understand that. He looked it. I personally think some of the players, such as Zanka and Schindler, are also suffering from the same sort of thing. And I never really thought about it until after that game and watching the reaction there, Danny. And I think if you, as a defender, and you're throwing yourself in constantly, and there's no goals up front to take that pressure off you, it's going to build up a little bit, and you are all of a sudden going to a point of, or breaking point. Yeah,
it's got to do. I mean, I've not played to anywhere near that level, obviously, but if you're in a team where part of it's not functioning, whether it's the defence, midfield or attack, then you do sort of think, well, I'm here doing my job, why aren't you doing your job? I know there's been rumours of a bust-up, but nothing's come of that. As in nothing, they were talking about players getting sold and so on, but obviously nothing's come out of the club with regards to that. But it's only natural, isn't it? I mean, we were talking about how deflated we are, so players are going to be deflated as well.
If you look at it, for me, we've lost 8, 9, 10 games by 1 goal. So you don't have to be a genius to work out where his problems are. And if you're part of that defence that's keeping a lot of good sides in this Premier League, keeping them down to 1 goal, yet you're still in with a pretty much very low percentage chance of getting out at game. If you're playing that position every week, you're giving everything, it's gonna ruin you confidence-wise, because whatever you do, you're up against some quality sides. They get 1 goal like they did Saturday, and you know you're done. Same against Everton, 1 goal early doors, you know you're done. And for me, defence has been pretty much decent all season. I think they've done well, and I think Kozi's right. I think Schindler is absolutely shot of confidence. You don't go from where he is, which is, I mean, take the penalty out of it, legend status at Huddersfield Town for me.
People were talking about German call.
Absolutely, and rightly so at the time. And I just think, when you're in amongst that, and they've also had the midfield that they're used to playing in front of them week in, week out has literally been torn apart as well over the last couple of months. So there's no continuity in front. And when you've played football at any level, you do get relationships on pitch with people that are either directly in front or directly at the side of you. And if that's constantly changing all the time, that is going to affect you. So
it's interesting, it's psychological. There's one thing that kind of sticks in my mind, the Fulham away, when the whistle went. It was like we'd lost in extra time in the World Cup final. There were guys on the floor. To me, we were mentally shot at that moment, and I don't think we've recovered. Interesting on Saturday, just kind of being behind. Obviously, Moy were attacking the gut, not the shed end where we were, but the other end, and you could just see hands on heads, body. I suppose it's exactly what you said, Danny. You could imagine like playing 5-a-side every week, and you knew, no matter how hard you worked as an individual, or 4 or 5 people did, if you're not going to score, it's almost like, what's the point? And
that's it.
Yeah, when it was being mentioned, I know Wagner were kind of saying, well, it's going to turn. I just thought, what about when we start not playing well? There's only so much you can do with that.
Once it's going wrong, you're sort of thinking, you want somebody that you can give ball to who can produce a bit of magic. And I mean, other than Moy, who is that at the moment? I just don't know. Even then, I don't think there's any one player who can sort of turn it on at this level and change a game for us.
Van Lepana did a little bit of that last year, didn't he? At times, but it's like you say, you're giving it to Diakabi and Ben's obviously only lasted 15 minutes and what have you. There's no one, and in Moy again, he really is just our talisman. It's grim, and the trouble is there's still that many games left.
The problem is he is the one player we have got that has got genuine Premier League quality. Is Moy. You've missed him for 2 months. I'm gonna bang my own drum. I said it at the start of the season. The one player we needed another of before this season kicked off were Adam Moy. Because we all knew we weren't going to be here for a month in January. January wasn't breaking news that we'd know Adam Moy, regardless of his fit. He's still not Asian, Asian Cup, whatever, with Australia. So to not have that backup when you've got Danny Williams, who to be fair is made out of papier-mâché. You've got Billing, who it's a lot of pressure on Billing, and Billing's done well this season for me. He had a lot of unfair criticism, and Johnny Hogg, absolute warrior, but he's not going to win your game with a bit of absolute quality. He'll defend with his life and throw his body in way.
Billing,
but he's never. Yeah, Billing might be.
You look at Billing; he's not a great goal scoring record. He's got like the people remember that Notts Forest goal and that Cardiff goal, but I mean he scored this season against Southampton, but that's about it for him. You go back his few seasons, he's not a goal scoring midfielder.
He's Reading. He could add that. He's young, isn't he? He could add that potential, but Aaron Moy doesn't score a lot either, does he?
If Billing were playing at Man City,
Huddersfield Town don't score a lot. Let's be fair.
If Billing were playing not Man City, but a team that's got a big squad, they're taking him out now on the bench, refreshed him, come back maybe in 3 or 4 games, and we just don't. We're just kind of flogging.
Had Danny Williams been fit, I think.
There's just no options. Obviously, with the Cooners coming and Raw as anything, and
I think unsettled team has definitely contributed. Obviously, they've planned in summer for one formation. We've realised that ain't working within a couple of weeks at the start of the season, so that's been changed. So the summer recruitment ain't fitted in without what we've changed to. So it all managed together to make up what's been a disaster of a season, really.
I think Olga obviously was injured, I think, wasn't he? He wasn't fit, but 6 changes against Everton, 5 against Chelsea. But I think we said it, didn't we, that he's gonna take a look at everyone. Results are more likely to get probably worse, and he needs to get to a place at the end of May.
With it. Like we said last week when we were on with Johnny on Radio Leeds, for me now he's got a mini pre-season to do it and find out what he wants and what he don't want, and it could very well happen that we don't win another game this season. That is. It sounds awful to say, but that is a brutal fact. It could happen. So because they're that short of confidence. Just
on that, we had a message from somebody who sounds like an NFL quarterback to me, Brady Frost. It's a great name. We've got 13 games left, but he said it's hard to judge based on a couple of games, but can you see Town beating Derby's points tally, which was the lowest in the Premier League? And bear in mind, we only need 1 point for that. I think we will.
I think we'll get a point.
We should, but
I think if we win one, we might win another. But it depends when.
We'll get a penalty at some stage. It's 0-0 and it won't be overruled. But
set piece.
Yeah.
Drugs testing coming for Mr. G.
It'll happen.
So, one thing that's become boring this season, there's lots of things that have become boring. One thing in particular is the whopper in the middle. So, I can't even be bothered talking about this in depth, but there's 2 incidents involving Elias Kachunga. One where he's penalised for a penalty by Mr. Tierney, and the other where he didn't get a penalty. More decisions that go against us. How did you see that?
Well, me and Kosi have got 2 different views of this. I'm not saying we disagree either. You saw it live. I saw it from a TV screen where you tend to get a bit of a better view at the time. I can see why.
So your view's right and Kossi's is wrong. Is that what?
No, not at all.
I had a lot to drink, Neil. What are you drinking? Tea?
yeah. Some nice.
Fair, I've changed my view.
Some Twinings extra strong. Their penalty. It's not a penalty. It's as simple as that. He's when you watch it in real time, possibly, but when you watch it back, is at least a foot outside box, and a foot's a lot.
You think it's a foul?
I think wouldn't a referee summed it up in paper on Sunday, to be fair? I'm not sure where I'll see it, yeah. And he said it's one of those where, as a referee, if you're not 100% sure that's a penalty, give a free kick on edge of box. I think it probably is a foul. I think, maybe they all go down easy. We know that's going to happen. But it's not a pen. And apparently the linesman said to one of Town players, it's not a pen. But the referee didn't want to speak to him, so he's already given it.
So Tommy Smith asking for him to...
Yeah, he ain't going to change his mind, even though linesman's got a different opinion sideways on. So, you know, where at Cardiff it went against us completely.
So
This has gone against us again. And ours, at the time, I'm thinking he's gone down really soft and made a bit of a meal of it. And if you watch it, he gets stood on. His foot gets stood on Kachunga.
He makes a lot of it, doesn't he?
But he makes too much of it. And I think if he don't go down as much as dramatic, I think I don't think we'd got a pen. Not for a minute, but I think
We'd have had more
if that's Hazard going down, I think it's probably a pen.
That's the only bit of the game I've seen is that Kachunga, and I don't think it was a penalty. I was with Kosi on that. I thought if it was, then I don't think it was a deliberate stamp or anything. I think if it had been outside the box, I don't think anybody would have been saying much about it at all. To be honest,
the sad thing is though that we don't think the pens for stuff like that because we're totally used to not getting penalties. Yeah. Whereas if that had been Eden Hazard going down or Higuain going down or Pedro or Willian,
they'd give it.
You're expecting penalty there, and you're just shrugging. You're not surprised.
No.
You don't remotely expect us to get it, but you expect them to get them all day long.
So what's your final view, Kosi? Because you've flip-flopped a bit.
Well, I've sobered up since Saturday, but yeah, I mean,
you did it well on Saturday. You couldn't tell you had a drink either.
oh no, in service station Saturday kids play thing, bloody hell. Yeah, it got a like from Sean Jarvis, so he must have been easily pleased. But yeah, I always think your gut feeling is your first kind of look is your gut feel, and it shouldn't make any. If someone tweeted me because I sorted with it at the game, Yorkshire Post, she said it went down a bit easy, and that probably influenced, like you just said there, the referee's kind of decision. And part of me wonders as well because they'll never say it to your face, but Kachunga probably give him a load of gob when he's given that penalty away first time. So I just wonder if the refs just like, well, hang on a minute, this is him that's had a go. Yeah, because I think I would if I were a ref, Neil, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it probably. I watched a lot of them now replays on the Twitter. I think we know if it's Chelsea, he's getting it. But I just hate when they go down so.
Yeah, it's rubbish. It's cheating.
But then if they go down honestly, it shouldn't really matter, should it? Really,
we've played football. Studs on your foot hurts, especially on those thin boots. But
the thing is, though, they're not supposed to give a penalty unless they're 100% sure. And if you want 100% sure on Kachunga's, which is in the penalty area, how could he possibly be 100% sure on the foul that Kachunga gave away when it was nowhere near penalty area?
I wouldn't have had such a problem with Kachunga's penalty not being given if they hadn't got theirs. I'd have just kind of gone, all right, fair enough, one each. For me, Kachunga shouldn't give the referee the option to give a penalty. I think the way he's gone in with his right thigh across him's a bit daft, to be honest. I don't think he should be giving the referee a decision to make in there. But even then, it's outside the box. I don't think there's a debate on that. It is outside the box. There's a fair debate on whether it's a penalty on Kachunga.
There were those remarks came up on Twitter from, I think it were Phil Thompson and Jeff Stelling off Sky. They're both saying never seen a penalty. Never seen a penalty.
The VAR's got to overrule a clear and obvious mistake. I don't think I think you could watch that now 20,000 times, and I still don't think you could say that with a clear and obvious mistake. The Kachunga one that we should have had. Obviously that one I think the VAR's going to bring that one back. Yeah, but knowing what our look and that, it probably brought back for the free kick.
For a rude awakening next season because a lot of these decisions. I mean, Liverpool got another one last night, which is just beyond ridiculous.
Offsides maybe, but there's still someone sat there making a decision, and until you remove that human element, I'm still sceptical. But the question about
Chelsea wouldn't have had theirs, so you're going at half. I'm not saying would have come back. But Chelsea don't get that penalty under VAR.
No, they might have got the one by Smith a minute later, maybe.
But you're going at half time 1-0.
It's a different game.
And
this was my argument.
You've got a chance with a float, one shot. You know, it can happen, can't it?
This was my problem on Saturday, was that we're not going to win that game 99 times out of 100. But the referee has made a decision which has removed any chance we may have had on that one-off attempt. And we've had that so many times this season. It's so frustrating, but it's boring talking about it. And
we've named them all before a million times, and we all know.
The question's coming from the Tanzanian Terrier, and he's actually said VAR, would it have helped, and why are the officials worse than ever? But
I think it'd have helped. Would have got theirs have been a free kick, but knowing how look Hazard had just bent it in, you know. But the Kachunga one, I'm not so sure that'd have been. Is that clear and obvious header from the official? No. I don't think it is.
I don't like soft penalties, and it's a soft penalty, but there's contact. You know, there's contact. Contact shouldn't give you a right to go down.
When it's so wonky towards the, shall we term, better, more established Premier League sides, it's clear bias. I mean, that ain't being bitter. It's just clear bias.
I think it's subconscious, me personally. I think there's a subconscious bias that it's only Huddersfield. It doesn't matter.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't happen to other teams. But Burnley should have had an absolute stonewall. They didn't get it.
He got booked for diving.
Yeah, he got booked for diving, which is an absolute penalty.
He's got a reputation though, as Ashley Barnes, for throwing himself around, so that probably hasn't helped. But
it still doesn't make it right, does it?
It doesn't. But he's owed one for being absolutely.
We've had that many go against us this season.
We had a lot
and
of.
Don't get me wrong. There's going to be people commenting on Twitter about this, saying, we'll still be bottom of the league. We're still going to score X amount of goals.
You just want a fair crack.
Don't dispute that. Don't dispute that for a minute. But we've had them turned down at crucial times in games. If we'd have got one against Chelsea, which how that ends up being a free kick other way, God only knows.
The Everton one.
No, the Chelsea one did. When David Luiz goes through back at pitch yard.
Yeah.
Penalty. It's a penalty. All day long, it's a penalty.
That's like the Everton one where Holder Congo shirt the other day in the last minute.
So that you possibly got a point against Everton. You're possibly getting an equaliser against.
Maybe there.
Against
Liverpool
Chelsea,
as well.
Liverpool, you're going in front. Arguably it's.
And the offside goal in the same game.
You've fine margins, and if you added, I'm not saying we're out of relegation zone, but if you added from those decisions 6 points, you're not quite as stranded, and you've still got a bit of a scrap to go now. But without that, you
and maybe
put
David Wagner's still here because he's not
Wagner's
stressed by
still
it
here,
all,
and there's a bit of a bounce in place again. And
I've got to be really honest, sorry, in this room, but I'm finding it really difficult to handle everything at the moment, and it just kind of mentally and stuff. It's really weird. I remember the couple of people text me on Saturday and they said, we've had it a lot worse. And I know what they're saying in League 1 and 2, but for me, it's just that
it's a tired argument, that for me.
Yeah, I'll throw it to you a lot, but how do you? I'm really struggling to deal with this.
I said at the weekend,
I'm really struggling to deal with it.
For me personally, this is the second most unenjoyable season I've seen at Huddersfield Town.
What's your first?
Wadsworth.
The Wadsworth season.
Tell you what, it is up there with that. But you used to click the turnstile then and thought we're probably never going to win. I'm feeling
losing in any league is just not.
But
fun. It's not.
That Wadsworth team, when we said earlier about you need somebody who can give it to you, who can win you a game, that was Martin Smith. I don't think you turned up for those games thinking we're going to get thrashed here. I remember thinking we could get something, but it's like...
I generally don't with us this season. I just think we're going to lose 1-0.
Yeah, but why do people that don't even go to any games, like people who work or watch it on the TV say, just enjoy the last... How can we enjoy losing games every week? I hate it. He said to me, enjoy the game. As people were clapping hands off, fair enough, but you can't enjoy this.
For
this
me,
is not enjoyable.
The Everton game sums it up. They score after 2 minutes, and you've got 88 minutes to watch, and the game's dead. That's it this season, and maybe it'll change under the new manager, and hope it will. But
I mean, people are saying it because we're in Premier League and we're.
They don't get football. They don't go week in, week out. They don't get football. These people that say it. Don't
matter what league you're in. If you're winning, football's great.
If
you're losing every week,
I
mean, let's be fair. Last game we won in November, and we're now we're well into February.
I like being in the Premier League. I do like being in the Premier League, but I like the status that comes with it. But I think
there's more of it to dislike than like.
We'll skip ahead slightly on this because this is a question that came in quite late on. So I'll just find that very quickly.
Why you find it though? I just like it's so. Yeah, I'm just in a place now where I'm finding it. Yeah, I'm finding it really difficult because on Saturday I knew what was going to happen, and
it affects your mood.
It does.
It affects your mood. There's no doubt about it. Football can.
Yeah.
It can either make your week or break your
just
week.
Want that
and when you haven't won for 3 months, it's a lot of weeks broken.
But even in that run and ones we had where Liverpool, Tottenham, whatever, I was still. Whether we could turn it around, I don't know, but I still felt we could have a chance. Now I just don't feel there's any chance, and that's changed since that Southampton nil. Yeah, we played all right at Man United, but
to be fair though, look on bright side, we got an easy game Saturday.
Yeah.
So I found the tweet. So I should have known it's from our buddy at HTFC Dreams, and I do take where tweets like this come from, and this obviously isn't linked to what you were saying earlier because it's a completely different scenario, but the people are looking for silver linings and bright sides, and I get that. And is he or she? I don't know if it's he or she. Has put positivity. We have 150 million in the bank, parachute payment, 60 million quid worth of internationals, Billy Moy, Zanka, Schindler, Derm, Lurzel, Congolo, Mounier, a new training ground being built, a new attack-minded manager, We have had it worse, but want the season to end mentality is wrong. I think they were going. And for me, it's just the higher you are, the higher the stakes are. The greater the feeling when you win, and the greater the worse the feeling when you lose. And when you lose 12 out of 13, it feels pretty rubbish, because it's in the Premier League, everything's magnified 10 times on the Championship. So
just driving on Leeds Road again last night, just having a look at them things on lampposts, which are all going to have to come down. But we never give in is one of the things that says there, and it's just like everything that's just on there is kind of opposite that we're doing. But I get you know, just losing must be. It's all right saying positive and this that. I can kind of get when you get in this rut, but let's be honest, is it just like 12 defeats out of 13? We're starting to get into. I know that
you look at that, and I don't know. Start Matt probably will. How many goals have we scored in them games?
Oh my
probably
word.
2. I don't know. Southampton,
Bournemouth.
No, yeah, we did Tonkonga, didn't we? Bournemouth. There's not many, is there? There's probably 3 maybe.
Ole. Mounier's last goal, wasn't it?
Burnley,
Big header. 1-0 up.
I don't really want to. That's not a stat.
You see, for those who were saying you should be just enjoying it, that's why you're not.
Yeah, it is.
If I was enjoying it, I'd have been able to reel those off. Then.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's funny when you reel the stats off to him, and that's also, oh, right, I see what you mean now on that. But it's just, I think that's the trouble with this kind of modern breed of fans. They see as, you know, Hazard, obviously, what a goal, Higuain, but he's just, yeah. I
You
suppose the only
always
thing
look
you
at the
could,
goals from a defensive point
Yeah.
of view rather than attacking when it's your team, don't you? So you always go, oh, so-and-so should have done better there, but they are good players.
I did quite like it first season. Like I say, Harry Kane and so on, I can appreciate it. But when you've seen that a few weeks running,
we're in the excitement bubble, then
and
as well,
we're winning games either side of that as well, so that helps.
Saturday
we
just
still
felt,
fancy this to turn up and have a right good go at teams. And
it
get
felt like a
some out.
cup tie Saturday, Neil, for me. Just like a League One side. I'm maybe being on polite there, but it just felt like a championship.
We did better against
I'm
them.
gonna
when
say,
Let's be honest,
we scored
I
each
had,
time.
I had a message on Messenger from a Bradford fan when we'd lost on Saturday, saying, laughing at me, saying we won there when we were in League One in FA Cup, blah blah blah. And I had a right good go at me, and I thought I replied a couple of times, then he was getting stupid. So
Cheeky cluck.
I just thought to myself, you've got a Bradford fan messaging me here. We've just lost 5-0 at Chelsea in Premier League. They lost 4-0 at home to a Chris Powell-inspired Southend other week. They're in relegation zone in League One, and they're full of ex-town rejects. So what you sent out.
And they're just drawn 0-0 against Wycombe, don't they?
I had a couple of.
And we always get 6 against.
I was lining Danny up for his joke, what he said the other day there. But
I've had
don't
no
upset
real issues
Bradford
from
fans.
Leeds fans, but I had a couple steam into me on Saturday about 9 o'clock, and I was like, yeah, they'll take it out on me. All of a sudden, the pressure's getting to them, and they're having to kind of stick it. So what's the point of going to there? I was like, where's this come from? Because I tell you what, you know what I mean? They can't take it. The Norwich was kind of taking it out on me. I was like, lads, just because you've been bad, don't take it out on me. But it is funny, like other teams, it's almost like now, they've kind of seen we're down, let's press the button and give us a good kick in. But to be honest,
I said to his breath, the difference is you came down and you've been absolutely broke and struggling since. We're coming down absolutely wedged with a new training facility coming.
rather than being owned by having the ground owned by Flamingo Land and
by the way,
training at
when
school.
is that?
We're getting a £20 million training complex and you're training at school.
When's that starting? I thought that was meant to be in November. When we got
2020, it's supposed to be finished, I think. Is that so?
When's
It's
it
going to be
starting?
quick.
Yeah.
It's going to be quick. I don't know. Let's just
Basically
file it
got
under
2
the.
years, haven't they, to be fair.
Please, not another HD one. Get it built.
Okay, so moving on to someone else who's been battered quite a lot, and that is our friend Adama Diakabi. So we've had a couple of tweets come in. Malky, our friend from New York, says Diakabi or Mbenza, and yes, you have to pick one of them. And Mike Terrier 7N2 says Diakabi, why are fans abusing him when Mooney and Depoitre have been rubbish as houses, and paraphrasing, this season, yet fans sing their names. Ince did nothing all last season, best bar score a goal against Watford, yet fans chanted his name and he cost us 1 million less than Diakabi. So I think Mike has a point in and amongst that. So I think with the new manager coming in, these two players need a bit of a clean slate, I guess, now. Diakabi early in the season, I personally thought was tactically and technically one of the worst players I'd probably seen at Premier League level. But having seen him now play under Zivert, I can see that we've probably not played to any of his strengths at all. He was given the ball 10 yards before the fullback and expected to lift his head and play a bit as a bit of a pivot in a half space. And we've seen under Zivert already that if you can get him on the shoulder, he's actually partly lively. But to answer the question, Malky, would you take Diakabi or Benza? I suppose I'd have to say Diakabi because he's technically our player, I suppose. What about you guys?
I'd take Diakabi. I don't have that much of a problem with him, to be honest. I know he's been getting some stick, but I've heard everything from excellent to worst ever, and I think the truth's somewhere in the middle. But I think the problem we've got is that we can't afford to be showing him how to play football and giving him time to adapt. So
no, that's the problem.
Yeah, he's not being brought in to be given the time to. We needed somebody to come in, and that's why fans will probably be expectant of him because it's a big fee. He's a young lad. He's come from Monaco.
To be fair, the fee is now it's quite cheap relatively for Premier League.
It is.
It's
But
more
when
than
you look at
Moy.
what we've spent in total, he's a wedge of a £7 million.
It's not his
And
fault.
there's people saying you can teach him to control us. Sorry, but no.
I don't think you can manufacture footballers. I think
No,
you've
but
either got it or not, personally.
You can't. You shouldn't. When somebody's cost over £7 million, you shouldn't be having to teach them how to control a football. Sorry, but that should be a given. That's just basic. That's an absolute basic. But he's had a couple of little decent bits here and there. But
We've finally seen some flashes.
Given choice, I'll be honest, I'd pick neither of them. But Diakabi is
you have
ours.
to pick one. That's the stipulation.
Well, Diakabi's already ours because there's no way I'd be paying £13.5 million for Mbenza. So
we've seen flashes from both, but they're both
on
up-and-coming players.
On
Projects
Saturday, were our main
both
threat.
raw.
On Saturday, were our main threat for the first 20-30 minutes. The one thing that alarmed me was Joe Lolly, for me, was just all left foot, all 1 foot. It was scary. I were like, it's the first time really we've seen him kind of have some decent
he's
runs and
completely
stuff.
one-footed.
Yeah,
If we end up with a Joe Lolly with pace, we've cracked it. But I think we'll probably see the best of him next year in the league below.
Do you honestly think that? I mean, obviously we haven't got time, but do you think he was a kind of a development player, or do you honestly think? Well, obviously we should have got better than what we've got from him, but what did we think he was going to come in and hit the ground running?
I think the
He
problem
looks
is
nowhere
you
near.
tried and tested players just cost too much money. So I think we've had to take a punt and hope he hits the ground running, and he's not.
We've gambled, haven't we? We've gambled £7 million.
It is what it is. We shop in a different market to everyone else, so it's not really anyone's fault. It just is what it is.
What were Benza's injury? I didn't see any kind of thing after the game. Was it?
They went holding his shin, didn't he? I guess.
That is calf on it, yeah.
But hopefully, I play them both from now to the end of the season and see what they've got. Hope Diakabi keeps improving, and
To be
and
fair
hopefully
though,
Benza
Benza's only
shows.
on loan, and if it's true that it's £13 million to sign him at end of season, I'm sorry, but the budget that we'll have for next year, there's no way on earth that you're spending £13 million
It's almost
on him.
pointless, isn't it, playing him if we're not going to, kind of move. It's a shame because I still think there's something there, but I mean, how long do you?
There's something there with both of them, isn't there? We've seen little bits. You've got to.
Burnley,
I think Diakabi.
There's got to be something there because there's £20 million worth of football.
In terms of Diakabi, though,
21, man.
yeah, in terms of Diakabi, I think his strengths are so far up here, but his weaknesses are so. It's like a seesaw with I don't know, me and my little boy on the end. You know what I mean? His strengths are right up there, and his weaknesses are right down there. And I think that's part of the problem, really. And I think, to be honest, under David Wagner, we probably played a little bit to his weaknesses. But
what was funny on Saturday was like Diakabi got the ball and ran, and you could feel the Chelsea fans like bit of gasp. Oh my word! But the town fans were like, "Yeah, okay," but yeah, it's all liable to end in nothing, which it did, time after time. But yeah,
bit of Phil Collins there.
Move on.
It's one of them. It's cost us this season, but as much as I've said, I think he's awful. I think you've got to wait now until next season and hope that it bears fruit in a year. Going through
I
next
think if
season,
you play him
play
him higher up than what he was, then it does better. But if you play him deep, if he drops off deep, he's no use. He's got to use that speed. Yeah. That's his main weapon. But we'll move on.
Barnes with the flick, Johnson with the turn, Johnson with the goal, and the game turned on its head.
So, HTFC Dreams, I think this might be one of the last ones. Striker hierarchy, Meunier, Grant, Depoitre. Says Grant seems most suited to Jan Zievert's method of playing football. Do you agree with that? I don't think he is.
I've defended Meunier. I've defended him and defended him and defended him. But long and short of it is, lad's got 1 goal this season.
Top scorer, striker.
Yeah. Well, Grant has scored more this season than we have.
Do you see that in the newspaper as well?
Yeah,
Whereas he's
14.
actually got. Do you remember on teletext when you were kids, you used to look, and then if you used to sign someone from the league below, you
Brilliant
used to
money,
put them on.
yeah.
Yeah, you used to put them as one of the top scorers in the
So
league.
yeah,
You
he's
know
actually.
what,
I to be honest, I know why he didn't, but I'd have just thrown him straight in Saturday. Mate. I think you just got to get him in, get on with it.
From the bits I've seen, he looks short at the minute. He's another project player, but
He might do, but we've got 2 strikers. Otherwise, they've scored 1 goal between them. So for me, he's first choice.
there's more to it. There's more to it for me. Than.
You know what,
It's now
Lappin,
a pre-season. Get him bedded in. Get him in amongst there.
You know what,
The other
Lappin,
2
Neil?
clearly haven't done.
Ruin him.
Money will
Exactly
go
that.
somewhere else, mate. Money will go to an Everton or somewhere else, or Watford,
No,
and
well.
they'll score loads of goals. I honestly think there's. I do. I don't believe how you can go from that, Matt, that we saw last season, granted a long time ago.
You've got to get players close to him, and we don't do it.
I just think it'd be
like,
good. Yeah.
I'm not sure Mooney will stay next season, but if he does, it could be an
Apparently
absolute.
Nice fancy him, don't they?
It could be a monster in that league.
That's Vieira, isn't it?
be.
His team's niece,
Is
isn't
it?
it? Patrick Vieira.
But
So
I'm
it's
starting to look
interesting.
at things
Yeah.
differently. Like
He's
Hadajani's crossing's been dire, because it's not accurate. But if you have enough men in the box, things start to fall and break, and all of a sudden,
a bit like your laptop.
a bit like the laptop here.
But that was an interesting thing, because obviously you never know, some of these Twitter things are random, Hadajani, Lazio, but Mooney, and because it said, yeah, it said, I think I just wondered if someone made that bit up, because it said Mooney has turned down Neats. Okay, that might be true, but then it said because he wanted to stay in Premier League. That just seemed a weird
I
thing
think
to
they've
say,
started.
innit?
To be honest,
I thought
I
it
think
was,
they've
to
started typing link and predictive text and turned it into Lazio. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we'll move on. So, Hotline Billing has been in touch. So it's a good question, is this actually? Kosi, I'm going to throw this at you first. At what point is it fair to start judging Zievert's philosophy, and did we expect a better reaction from the squad with a new face in charge, albeit after 2 games?
It's really difficult because Partey wants to compare it to Wagner, and if you remember his first 2 games, Sheffield and Middlesbrough, albeit in a lower standard than that, you did see some instant kind of results, even though we lost both games.
Performance-wise, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
even though both games were lost like these 2 have. But I didn't expect any kind of bounce. My kind of view was if Wagner couldn't, the King David Wagner couldn't change.
Wagner wasn't the problem, was he? That was the...
No, and if we'd have signed a few more bodies in the transfer window, it's only 2 games, isn't it? But yeah, he's trying things. I think what's worrying me a little bit, some of his stuff is coming out with, but maybe it's lost in translation. But I was surprised at his comments after the Everton game. Maybe he didn't want to alienate anyone when he was kind of saying we would give it a really good go, and it was only Jordan Pickford, and I was just thinking, not really, mate. And obviously came out and defended Diakar, which you didn't have a problem with Matt last week. He was really on the offensive, wasn't he, in his press conference? Obviously, he must be
I
sensing.
just think it's man management 101. Don't slate your players in public.
But
Build them
yeah,
up.
I just hope he's his own man, and not, trying to be someone that is not. But the one thing that did, and it's bad to make this judgment because obviously Sarri's, I just looked on Saturday and thought, wow, it just looked like, I don't know, kind of, it is Master v Apprentice, but you do wonder and worry after 2 games even, but I would have gone for more an experienced manager. I can get where the club's gone for they want to continue to build on Wagner, but I just wonder with the job that's got to be done. Oof, I don't know.
That's what I said before he's appointed, but for me, he's in the building now.
And a 5 changes. It doesn't surprise me any time you get them notifications. 7 changes, 5. What's it? 6
It's like Neil says. It's a pre-season. Yeah. He's looking at what he's got, hasn't he?
Yeah.
For me, I've seen elements of change already with Siva. It's not massive. It's not obvious, but I can see little runs and little transitions which are a little bit different.
There's a bit more intent there. That looks.
Yeah. So, for example, I think in the first half against Chelsea, we had the striker. I think we'd rotated the strikers, and I think it might have been Diakabi was central at that point. He dropped off to link, and then Kachunga had moved from the left, and he'd made a diagonal run into the sort of central striker role, which is not too dissimilar to what Liverpool do with Sane and Salah, when they played the 4-3-3. But obviously, with Liverpool, the final ball coming in is a lot better than what we were delivering, and there's little runs and little elements of scene which are good. I think he is a little bit more attacking minded. I think not quite as static, but
You mentioned we had to shoot more, didn't we, in his thing? I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that
thought
shot on
it's-
Saturday was just powder puff.
I thought pre-match he was pretty good,
Yeah.
Sievert. I thought he nailed it, to be honest.
We must have had, and we don't have many shots to it, but the our power of our shots are absolutely pathetic, aren't they? You know what I mean?
What's really weird is a lot of our players seem to scuff it. Like Joe Lolly scuffed every shot he had with us.
Yeah.
Went to Forest and he's smashing them in from all over. And Alex Pritchard is really bad for scuffing shots now.
There were one on Saturday
But
with it
before-
Billing, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Billing's got.
Awful. He could better than that. But
I don't know. Maybe it's just time on the. But maybe we just don't create enough time for the man in possession. Maybe so. Therefore, it's a bit more rushed. But yeah. So Neil, what about you for in terms of when are you going to start judging the philosophy of Jan Sievert? Like you said, he gets a pre-season spill.
He's got how many games have we got left this season now?
13.
He's got to. As long as we see some kind of progression, as long as we see some kind of progression between now and the end of the season, and I'm not expecting it to start and centre and winning every week. Don't expect that at all. But it'd just be nice to go into next season with a little bit of bounce and a little bit of positivity. Because at the moment, I'll be honest, I know he's been here only 2 games, and it's a lot to ask coming in the back of the run we've been on.
It's an inexperienced manager having to lift
yeah,
that team,
it's just
isn't it?
it's
tough job.
It's a really big ask to come into this level of football when you've been nowhere near this level of football before. So I'll always back town managers, always, apart from Chris Powell.
Andy
but-
Ritchie. Mick Wadsworth.
No. I backed them all until they bored me
Until the first
rigid.
game.
But
Yeah, I know.
I'll always back them until they give you a reason not to. So I'm right behind him.
Look, I wanted a more experienced manager in initially, but he's in. Let's get behind him and let's see where he takes us from.
Yeah.
So
I just want that announcer on Sky not to say Huddersfield 0 anymore. You know what is it now? 7? Is it 7 hours or something?
It's a lot.
It's been 7 hours and 15 days. I don't know how the song goes.
It's like that song of Sinead O'Connor.
Arsenal haven't kept a clean sheet though, have they? Away from home all season.
We've not.
Arsenal.
Did you hear that though on Sunday? I could have just like smashed my TV up because Arsenal in 3-4-6 away games without a victory. Under...
When you hear these top sides crying about stuff, they have not got a clue, have they? Absolute whoppers, lot of them.
Weapons, satchels.
Yeah.
6 away games without a win, and they're arriving
It's
at
a satchel
D1 on
frenzy,
Saturday.
isn't it?
They're awful at back Arsenal, but obviously we're awful up front. Buy your tickets 01484.
Premium.
Who can't look at what's happening at the fantastic media stand end. Moy with the penalty. It's saved. Guarda scores with the rebound. Colin Guarda following up the penalty. Slides it in from a narrow angle. Bring the moment, Colin.
So, moving on. So this is away from Twitter. So Aaron Moy, Radio Leeds ran a bit of a story today about Aaron Moy saying that he's staying and looking to run down his contract with us. Listen back to what Aaron Moy said, and he's only said really when interviewed that, "Are you staying?" And he said, "Well, I've got a contract," and I don't know if Radio Leeds have got making. I don't know where that's come from. It seems a bit odd to me, Danny.
It's meaningless. Even if he says he wants to stay, I think you get to end of this season, we go down, and somebody comes in with a decent offer for him, and the club would have to sell him, and he'd want to go. So, I think I don't think he's saying he's staying. I think that's what Radio Leeds have sort of taken it as. But like I say, even if he did say that, then I don't think it means much at this point.
Can you imagine, Neil, if he did say?
Huddersfield Town will not be in the Premier League next season. Aaron Moy will. That's my view on it.
Yeah, he's 29, isn't he?
He's better than Championship.
Yeah,
I said this before we started recording tonight, I'd almost be disappointed in him if he, don't get me wrong, I'm delighted, but I'd be disappointed in him if he didn't go, because he is undoubtedly Premier League level, and I could see him at an Everton, a West Ham, a Leicester, or whatever, even top end. He's good. He's that good.
You'd feel bad for him watching him in the Championship, wouldn't you? For us, whereas he's looking.
I wouldn't feel bad.
You feel great.
I'd feel brilliant,
but you'd
I'd have that little bit of disappointment because it's it's all about his ambition then for me, and he strikes me as somebody who's fiercely ambitious. So
at his age, 28, I think this is the last.
This is his chance.
That he'll get
this is his chance to get a move if he's going to get one. So fill your boots, lad.
The wonderful thing about Aaron Moy, though, is apart from his got Kossi's haircut over there, is that he doesn't rely on pace at all. So he could play in our midfield till he's 35, 36, 37.
Oh, could you imagine?
It's brilliant just how he makes the best, just like find a yard, don't they?
He's
Just like,
class.
he's
That
just so
reverse
class.
ball he plays is just outstanding.
His hands down in 39 years of watching best player I've seen in a town shirt.
He's done enough in our tours as the Premier League to for people to know what he's about. And
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
He's the one
Look at
person
Wolves.
that the other teams always mention, that commentators always mention, that pundits always mention, Aaron Moy.
Yeah.
He is.
Well, he didn't disappoint at World Cup, did he, in last summer against World's Best, because he was playing against France and he was given man of the match against France in their group game. So
look how
people
Australia did
know.
without him.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that. He's given us that as well as a Huddersfield Town fan, to see your player shining on world stage for a nation that's not, you know, one of the sort of world powers. He's gone there and shone in a team that don't shine. So that's, and to have him,
It's a workman-like.
Aaron Moy, Huddersfield Town in World Cup. Like when Zanka scored, you know, it's stuff like that. They brought that to us, regardless of what you think. They brought that to us, that bit of world stage stuff and quality.
Commentators talking about us.
Yeah, but Aaron Moy, Premier League footballer all day long, won't be with us next year.
Fascinating thing for me is going to be the guys are everyone's loads are under contract. Obviously, Matt will kind of shout out probably who win, but this is the thing. How motivated? It's all right saying
He's slacking.
You know,
now,
Championship.
there's no stats ready.
You've only got to look at Stoke kept loads of their Premier League inverted commas quality. They were under contract. They don't have to sell because they got a parachute payment, and it's been the lads from what we've been hearing not bothered, not interested.
It's that
really.
losing mentality I keep going on about, because it's hard to shift. If you keep everybody and they're still like that, it's hard to shift it. Championship's tough.
I'll be honest, I think after the season that we've had this year, if you saw 10 leave, I don't think you're disappointed, because I do think that, like you've just said, I think that does.
I don't think it'll be
mud
necessarily a
sticks.
bad thing.
Mud sticks, and I think if you start next season with a defeat and then you get a draw in a NAF Cup game at a League Two side,
People are starting to go, that guy thinks
yeah,
he's too good for
yeah,
us
we
playing.
go again,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's all of a sudden, you know, season starts on Saturday. Season starts on Saturday, you know, and
Season
it's,
starts next season.
yeah, before you know where you are, you're in shambles again.
Another player linked away, or maybe not another, but a player linked away oddly before the end of February is Abdulhamid Sabiri today. And Danny, you've been getting messages of love from Poland, from somebody random, and there's
I've not heard this.
there's a club in Poland who are looking to sign Abdulhamid Sabiri on loan for the rest of the season, which I would find pretty strange considering Ziva still looking at everybody and still trying to find, you know, who's going to be good for next season. So I would find it pretty strange, Neil. Neil's just seen it for the first time.
Is their window
It's you,
not
Kelsey.
shut? Obviously, then
28th of Feb apparently
Right.
the window shuts.
I'd like to see him get a chance.
I thought this season for me has been such a shame for him because he's done so well for Germany under 21s. He's got man of the match twice.
Yeah,
He
Scored.
Man City away, write that off, everyone. You know that's a bad day.
yeah, that was just a
But
strange selection.
He
full
came
stop.
on against Bournemouth and it was for about 30 seconds.
Yeah,
But even in that 30 seconds, he looked slightly. He lifted his head, took someone on. Good
he's
little
bulked
shit.
up a bit. He doesn't look as wiry.
He looks quite potentially. I think if we go down, I remember playing Bolton in the FA Cup and he played really well at
Yeah,
their
he
place.
did. Yeah, he did.
I'm looking at Sabiri as one player with something to prove who could be potentially really good in that.
I'd
midfield.
like to see him get some minutes over the next few weeks.
I would.
I'd be genuinely disappointed if they sent him out on loan over to
If he wants to play
Poland
this
or
dynamic,
anywhere.
I would. If he plays this dynamic 4-3-3 where the midfielders go up and down and they need quality at both ends, I think Sabiri's made.
I think he's meant for it. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, if you're listening to Huddersfield Town, do not sell Sabiri between now and the end of the season.
No
Give
point.
the kid a chance. Let's have a look.
Right, and we'll quickly cover one other agenda point, and that is season tickets. So we said season tickets have been frozen. They missed a trick without Olaf doing the advert for it, but never mind. Sean Jarvis is getting some unnecessary stick, I think, in my opinion, for his little tweet which says we are 6% up on last season. It's only 3,000 we've sold though, do you know? So it's not like we've got 18,000 season ticket holders.
Yeah.
It's not like you're saying, oh, we've sold 15,000. it's not that hard to believe that out of 3,000,
Yeah,
3
those
out
are
of
never
18,000,
renewed quick,
that some have renewed quicker than others. I think Sean's a decent guy.
Well,
Personally,
we'll
He
100% be renewing him. We haven't done yet, but we will.
yeah, Sean sticks his head above the parapet. You know, when it'd be easier not to do so. Show some respect to him, I think.
Well, he's carried on doing it this season. When, let's be fair, why would you want to? You know, but he's still put himself out there, answers questions. He's made it very clear of the departments that he is in charge of. So why people are getting irate and messaging him about why haven't we spent this on players, why aren't we signing, why we sold him, what we don't. Get a grip, grow up, sort yourself out, find out some facts before you tweet and type rubbish.
I remember this
With a bit
happening
of respect.
after Old Trafford when Peterborough destroyed us. This happened exactly the same. And I tell you what, Danny mentioned it a couple of the week. He puts his head above the parapet, doesn't he? He's the man, rightly or wrongly. He's the man. You know, that people go, and you know what, he replies, yeah, all right, some of the stuff you're thinking, with all due respect, not today, Sean, you know, we've been battered, and then he's like, get your season cast. But that's his job, and I just...
Chief Whip.
It's total class that he has the decency to reply, because you know what, I'd probably close my Twitter down if, you know, some of the abuse.
I'd be surprised if somebody in his position at 19 other Premier League clubs would be replying to fans on Twitter. I think it's good what he
I
does.
bet there's 19 other Premier League clubs that don't reply
exactly.
like
But
that.
people are asking him
It's good
stuff
if that's
that's
what
not
he
to
does.
do with him. He's just like, this is
Well,
what I don't
that's
get.
what I say. Is he's made
Yeah.
it very clear of what he's sort of responsible for and the role that he's taken on. So when folk can message him about we haven't signed and why haven't we spent this and why haven't we done that, sort yourself out.
People are just. I think some people just struggle to just get stuff out in the right channels.
Well,
sometimes.
those that have been slagging him like that they can have a group whopper of the week for me.
It has effect on him. We've seen his Facebook post today. It obviously affects the guy. Just come on.
I'll tell you what's interesting.
Because he
though,
cares.
Of course he does. Get off his back.
Because he
And
does care.
he's also been working in a business over the last couple of months where his boss has been seriously ill. And I'm not being funny. At any workplace, if you're close to your boss like he is with Dean, that'd affect you when somebody's been as sick as he has. So, you know, that is bound to affect them. It's bound to. They've gone through so much together over the last, 8, 9, 10 years. So people just need to, stop taking a 5-0 defeat at Chelsea out on those that are trying their best to do something to make club a better place. Every day of the week, that's what they're trying to do. They might not get everything right. I think they'd hold their hands up and say they don't get everything right and we've got stuff wrong. But never knock them for trying.
You look around on Twitter, because obviously Darren McCann is probably the most high-profile chairman. I know Simon Jordan went on there when he kind of left. You've got that
Whopper.
Yeah, Andy Holt at Accrington, he's really good.
He's class.
And I'm trying to think of some other kind of chairman.
You get a lot in rugby league.
The
Neil
Notts
Hudson,
County
OKR,
owner.
is
Yeah,
really good.
and Neil Udgell at OKR. Yeah,
Zip your head up, son.
Neil Udgell at OKR. But the thing is, they say stuff that fans don't want to hear, and it gets kind of touchy, obviously. The guy down the road just comes out with a lot of spin, but it is interesting, though, that Sean's just like still kept his head and still kind of tweeting where I wouldn't. Would you? And he's doing it at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night when he's probably at home sat trying to chill out and what have you, and he's still having to reply. So keep your head up, Sean, and
yeah, just keep doing it, Sean. And if you don't like what he puts, just scroll past it.
Yeah. And you're also very welcome to join us on here to come and state your case and tell us a bit about your job and what you do. And
incredible.
And even
that'd be great.
if you
That'd
don't
be
like
brilliant.
what Sean Jarvis does, email us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, tell us.
Tell us that it was rubbish, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
£249 for the season card in Championship is ridiculous.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
You what?
Fabulous.
A long ball forward, but he can't win that ball. He's going to chase the keeper down. He's charging down. And he's scored! Hayford has just scored for the most bizarre goal you'll ever see. The goalkeeper raced out of his area to clear the ball. Hayford charged it down. It's hit his back and it's bubbled in. And Town have got what they deserve.
So, moving on to more serious matters. So, running a podcast and having the ears of people. Obviously, I'm not going to play the Billy Big Potatoes card or anything, but sometimes it's quite good to do something. If people listen to what you say, Neil, sometimes it's quite good to use the platform for something good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what we would like to try and do is, instead of just carping on, whatever you want to say about football, there are other things than football which are important, and something which is quite close to you, Neil, and something that the podcast is going to align with is a charity or something that you have started working with, Neil. And if you want to fill us in on what the podcast will be doing.
Last few weeks I've been getting involved with a project called Huddersfield Street Kitchen, and it's linked to a chap called David Headley who started the Leeds Street Kitchen, and people have seen on the news about the tent city and things like that. It's like an offspring. It's the same people that started that one.
Sometimes in Leeds when I go.
Yeah, it's the same people who've started that one, and there's a couple that I met down there, Danny Burrows and Emma Duval, and they're just normal people. Work every week, work hard every day, got kids. You know, they're not millionaires. They're not. You know, these people aren't rich. These people are just people who've got a bit of a social conscience, and I actually met them through a chap who I met at Andy's Man Club, and the work it really enhanced his sort of well-being by going to this street kitchen and helping out. And this is a fella who's probably got note himself, being brutally honest, but the sort of feeling of happiness and pride that he had from going and helping people with even less than him. So it sort of perked my interest, seeing how it had lifted him, and I thought, you know, this is something I'd like to find out a bit more about. So I went down a few Sundays ago, donated a few quid just to help them make some food and what have you, and to see down there's all these volunteers turning up with hot pans of curry and chilli and stew and toiletries, clothes, shoes, etc., and just really, really heartwarming to watch that and all these people are turning up, and it's not just for homeless people, it's also for people who've hit hard times. They might have an house. You know, there's people being criticised on Twitter recently because they're taking coats off people that they're being offered.
We'll draw the good work as well that the HTSA have been doing with the food banks as well,
yeah,
which is fantastic. So that's really, really great.
So what we're trying to do is, I've took that. It's a simple task, to be honest. Go through your wardrobe, look what you've got, and without trying to sound like we're begging and wanting all your good stuff. You know, these people have also got a bit of pride. We don't want stuff that's just fit for the bin. You know, we want something that's, you know, decent quality, because these people have they've literally got nothing. They're sleeping on streets. So if it's going to Asda and buying a £6 quilt, which I bought a couple of them at. I didn't realise how cheap they were, to be honest. So I bought a couple of them. You know, 12 quid for 2 quilts. It's no, and that's, you know, that's keeping somebody a little bit warmer on a night in this weather. So, you know, if you can afford to buy a quilt at 6 quid, or just go through your wardrobes and see what clothes you got that you don't wear. We've all got some. You've all got some clothes you don't wear, and then it's random stuff like shower gels, because you know they do get a chance to go and use showers here, there, and everywhere, and you know, sanitary products for the women that are out there. You know, these things are crucial to just a normal way of life for us, but for them, it's not normal. That their normal's having nothing and having to ask. So it happens between 12 and 3, or a bit later if there's loads of food left and there's more people. It goes on longer, and it's outside the McDonald's in Huddersfield Town Centre. There's like a little square there in the middle, and they set up there. It's all self-funded. You know, they have the little gas burners, gas bottles, all that kind of stuff. But it really is an absolutely fantastic thing that they're doing.
Okay, so what the lads on the podcast are going to do is we're going to go through our wardrobes and find stuff which maybe people like me have put on a little bit of timber at Christmas, and I'm never going to fit back into that t-shirt no matter how much I want. You know, my other half's going to also go through what she's got as well, and we're going to put stuff in bin liners and try and get something to some clothes. And Danny, you've already done this as well, haven't you? So try and get something to and try and make some good of what we do as well. So if other Huddersfield Town fans want to get involved as well, let us know. That'd be fantastic. There's no pressure on people to do so, of course. We're not going to become too preachy about this.
Absolutely not. Can I just say that I did put something, I mentioned it on Twitter last week or week before, and I've already had 3 or 4 private messages with people that have got stuff ready. So
They are.
it's
I know
fantastic.
people on Twitter get stick, but there are some great people out there.
Yeah, some absolute gems.
So if you want to get involved with this and you don't want to tweet out loud, send a DM to Neil at Bradford Terrier directly, or the podcast at Takes That Chance.
Pick them all up.
And we'll be more than happy to help, and hopefully with this we'll be able to provide some stuff to the people of West Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Ball goes over the byline. Kachunga leaves it. Smith scores for Huddersfield Town. 3-2 Town. Kachunga left it. And it's Tommy Smith, the skipper, who's drilled in surely one of the most important goals of the Huddersfield Town season.
Brilliant.
So, moving on to lighter matters.
Yeah,
Kosi.
trying to lighten the mood. It's been a bit of a downbeat.
So
pod,
we've
hasn't it?
had one of our, we'll call him a contributor if you like, Tom Bradshaw, who's recently done some fantastic artwork about David Wagner's tenure at Huddersfield Town.
Oh, amazing! That should be on side of the stadium. Should that timeline?
So have a look
Brilliant.
at Thomas Bradshaw. Have a look at some of his stuff. Some of his stuff is really, really cool.
That made bigger on concourses would be excellent, wouldn't it?
Yeah, when you see something rubbish that are on some of the other grounds. I went to Doncaster the other week and they had a timeline that stopped in about 19... It was incredible. They've got a new stadium. Unless it were another part of the ground. It stopped in about 1999 or something. It's like...
At the back of the Kilner, maybe. Do you know where it's all breeze blocky?
Yeah,
I haven't
it's
been in there
fab,
for a
wasn't
few years, but having something like that would be amazing. So, Tom, if you do murals as well...
And it's
that'd be
KSDL, I'd have to do some work, so that's never going to happen.
No. So, Tom sent an email, cousin. You're going to read some of these out. So,
Yeah.
he said... What are the funniest moments on the pitch?
Yeah, and then Matt, you kind of offered it out to the HTFC public. So Freddie Cocker's the first one. He said, at a live game, Chris Brandon picked up a Birmingham player and cradled him like a baby after tackling him when we beat them in the FA Cup made me chuckle. Andy Booth scoring his last goal for Town v Orient had his own comedy moment when he took 5 years to get to the ball. Lee Walker's one of my favourites. It's still
Brilliant, isn't
Pavel Abbott's offside goal against Lincoln.
It was the right decision.
It was amazing that.
But
I remember going down there for the playoff and we were walking at the ground getting escorted in and there were people coming in his face. What was that referee? You're cheating this. They were proper raged. And it made it all the more sweeter when we knocked him out of the playoffs. It was incredible that though, wasn't it? Pavel and...
It was the rule at the time was that
Yeah.
it was like phases of play, so it was the right decision. It's just a stupid rule.
Yeah, it's a completely stupid rule.
Yeah.
Danny, you put one. Meadow at Barnsley. Does that relate to this?
That's the funniest thing I've seen watching Town on a football pitch is when Meadow came on against Town.
Yeah.
And
Bigger than me.
and
Should have used him for my seesaw analogy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just, you could tell there's something not right here. Why is he being brought on? And then he launched himself into a tackle. I think it was on Adam Clayton. And he completely missed the ball, took out, and I think Clayton just laughed. You're like, what the hell has just hit me here?
Dean Ball, if his contact lenses, I think this happened a few times. I do
That
remember.
was at Cowshed End.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I
One did-
remember that. I was right in front of him. I was only a
I'm
little
sure
kid,
it
I had
happened
no
though
idea what
against
we were doing.
Blackpool in that ill-fated game in the cup when we could have played Tottenham. And I remember that happening there
think
that
it was a
night.
s- it was
I think
a
it happened
Saturday,
a bit.
wasn't it?
I think it did happen twice. I think
Yeah,
it did, because I
I'm
think
sure it
second
did
time
that.
it's like, oh, this
One
is...
was one in the penalty box near the Cowshed End. I remember.
There
There was
was
another
one there-
halfway,
yeah.
wasn't
There
there?
wasn't it away ended that night.
The classic one for me when against Cardiff years ago, John Thornton got smacked full in face with ball and just staggering around like a drunk for about 5 minutes. Brilliant. Absolutely
Concussion
brilliant.
policies there. No concussion.
Is this just about Town players, so you can't have
It
any
could be about
opposition?
anything, I think,
But I've
football,
just
eh?
thought one. But anyway, we'll
The
move on.
cat at Everton was quite good at the week.
Jody Calvert keeps it up to date. Colin Kwana whacking himself over the head with his playoff medal and then looking at Kachunga like it was his fault. Must have watched it 100
Brilliant,
times.
that, yeah. That was brilliant.
Incredible.
I love
Clive
Colin.
Wilkinson. I were there that night, Neil. I think you were. Bakuna's debut own goal, one of the best goals I've ever seen. The funniest thing about that, I think we were going to do a post-match pod, and I think we were stood together, and you could just see the ball like fast forward at the goal. We just walked out. We're
Gone.
done. We're done.
Gone.
Not talking.
Absolutely
Can't
shocking.
spake.
Yeah, Nick Shackleton's nicked what I was going to say, but he mentions if you know again losing his contact lenses, but the other ultimate being the Stoke goalkeeper Prudo's blunders at the current stadium. For me, they are
They were class.
they are in the Champions League
He
players.
took
Tell you
it
what,
well.
not,
He
not
took it well.
comedy
did Bruno.
moments, but
Yeah, they
remember
did.
when Ian Dunn scored against Stoke and it stuck in stanchion? And they used it on title credits for that.
Calendar, didn't
It
he? as
goes
well?
on Sunday.
No, there were this was a midweek programme that him off Brookside used to
Yeah,
present.
I used to know the name of it because I used to have the titles. I used to have a
I
still
forget
of
what
it.
I forget what it was called.
Sinbad.
No,
Something on the something or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, was it like off the? Oh, it was like off the angle or something.
I don't know,
Something
but
like that.
I don't know what it was called, but Simon O'Brien presented it. Who used to be in Brookside. Danny, they're all frantically googling now.
Oh, Danny's got his phone out. He's whipped it out.
You go for name,
Ian Dunn's, it's stuck in stanchion. I think that was at Cowshed end, but it open end.
No, open.
But it open end, yeah.
It's a great
Next one's from Simon. His Twitter handle's BFIF1411. He says, he vaguely remembers Efisodji rugby tackling a pitch invasion. He reckons it was at Oldham. And then Jake Whiteman's come in, I think it was at Barnsley. I can't remember this, can you?
No.
Efisodji tackling a...
No, I remember when I said
invasion.
Oldham, I remember the guy doing the Russian dancing in front of the Oldham fans. a few years
I
ago.
remember being away at Barnsley one year when we used to sit downside. We were in that old wooden stand that they never opened now.
Oh, yeah, that was an awful
And
night.
I think, we lost a game, which is standard for being at Barnsley, but Tom
Standing
Cowan
room
scored
only,
direct
right?
from a throw-in. And he threw it, never touched anybody, went and it was referee would go pal singing he give it.
To be fair to him, he went on Sky afterwards and then justified it and just said, "Look, I think there's a touch there." And fair enough.
even Tom Cowan in front of our fans sort of
Wheeling away.
This is cheering me up a lot. Mark Harrison and Benz's shot v Fulham.
Yeah.
Watson, DPW247, Wayne Burnett, schoolboy, pushing the West Brom mascot over after another player at the Hawthorns pre-match.
I don't remember that, but I do remember.
Yeah, that was under Jacko.
I do remember going to Wrexham away in 1998 and Terry the Terrier having a fight with the Robin.
I went there.
They had a fight at half time in the centre circle and Terry the Terrier won and he won with an elbow drop. It was brilliant.
Actually, at Wrexham, the funniest free kick I've ever seen was Michael Delaney when we had him on loan, and he sort of stepped up, tripped, and just sort of nudged the ball. Damien Delaney, yeah, whoever's at Palace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Damien Delaney. Yeah. He ended up being a good player.
We've got F scoring with his derriere at Villa.
Yeah, that was class.
Have to change this to...
Nobody mentioned Diakabi's Gemma Collins moment the other week.
I remember all Leeds fans singing Naki Wells's.
You've muted the wrong word.
There were two words to me when I muted
Talk
one,
about obsessed.
and then he scored.
I went to a Pontefract non-league game, and there were some Leeds fans there. They didn't know we were Town fans. We were just there incognito. And suddenly, one of them piped up, "Naki Wells is like what? Obsessed? What?"
Wow.
Adam Asquith,
He
Andy
had the last
Booth.
laugh though, didn't he, Naki?
He did.
Andy Booth falling over MK Dons was hilarious. He just collapsed while running with the ball. Everyone just laughed like, whoop, instead of kicking off that he had lost the ball.
Do you remember Phil Starbuck's corner where he went to take the corner and fell over the flag and then did a front wheel somersault so he didn't have to kick the ball?
I remember Ben Hamer this season putting it out for a corner from a dead ball.
Oh, I've done that once playing football.
I also remember the
To my shame.
one time at away at Stockport, and they used to have a changing rooms used to be under the stand there. They used to come out of a little tunnel that was like, the front of it was like a bit of a paddocky thing there, wasn't it? In that,
Is it a
and
music?
Andy
yeah.
Booth came down, twisted his knee
did
coming
his
off
knee,
there, and
didn't
went
he?
straight back down.
I was going to say, was that paddocky as funny as coming out of the janitor's house at Valley Parade? But
So
anyway.
there's been a lot, hasn't there? To be fair, a few of those towards the end of the season just keep moving a bit lighter, won't they? So
That's cheered me up,
if any players can plan out ridiculous other than a goal, crack on.
Boothie injured his knee during a minute's silence, didn't he, before when it the Brighton game?
I tripped over
It locked,
the plasticky
tripped,
stuff
then
that
it
he's put in
locked
the
when he was
centre
stood.
circle.
Yeah.
Unlocked.
Absolute liability.
Oh,
Thanks for
Boothie.
them. There were some funny ones there.
Yeah, there were.
Boothie, if you want to come on the podcast, that'd be amazing. If you can talk about
Yeah.
We used to preview games back early in the season, didn't we?
It's Arsenal at home this Saturday. Anyway, as we were, carry on.
Tickets still available. Good seats still available.
Right, so Twitter again has set the agenda. So looking forward, we've got here, and thankfully there's a lot of Town fans who are saying, what if we go down rather than when, which is great. Devon Terrier, however, pins the blame on us. Said, where did it start to go? In fact, no, it's Claire who does it. Thanks, Claire.
Yeah,
He said, where did it start to go wrong this season? Summer recruitment, tactics or formations. What happened to gegenpressing? Was the team's confidence undermined by the defensive tactics? Did Wagner lose the plot or burn out? I'm going to say Wagner burnt out. The tactics were as a result of who we were playing against. And summer recruitment, yeah, I think we've covered that enough. But yeah, summer recruitment was sadly hasn't worked.
Not very good, shall we
It hasn't
say.
worked. And Claire Hill has replied and said it went wrong when this podcast started.
Can't blame us for some of the recruitment because it started after
You see,
that.
I really like
blame
Claire,
me for
because she was
a
sending
podcast
some really
recruitment.
nice questions and stuff, but
Claire's cool. Yeah.
she's wanting us out now.
That
so
bloke doing
whatever.
cartoons stopped just before it all went wrong.
I blame you, Danny. You put that video on about Jonathan Hogg here, there, and everywhere.
I blame
If
the
we're
guy
getting
who
stick, if we're getting stick,
Instagram lad
I'm
gets
blaming Instagram lad.
I don't know what his name is, but he's all right. He was a vlogger, wasn't he? I don't like vlogs. I'll be honest. Vlogging's not my thing. I'm too old for vlogs. I don't get it. But he's. I don't mind what he does on the Instagram account. It's just ever since he's done that, I don't think we've won a game. Wolves away, I think.
One thing I want to bring up, I don't know if anyone's mentioned it. Did you see them comments from Ian Holloway?
Yeah,
Really-
it was weird. It
yeah,
was
they
like
were
he didn't
really
quite
interesting.
understand what he was saying at one
Yeah.
point, and then he was like, and then he brought it back around, didn't he?
About what?
He was saying that he wished he could have spoke to David Wagner and advised.
If he was the chairman,
yeah,
didn't he?
if he was the chairman. Go on,
Because
Matt, yeah.
he had the same thing at Palace, where he felt mentally fatigued, and he left Crystal Palace because he just felt worn out and shattered. And he said something along the lines of, if he was the chairman, he wished he could have re-energised him and said, have a break, let's go again next season. But I think if you're a manager and you go on a break, I don't think the players look at you the same if you've gone, sorry lads, I've just had a few months off.
No.
I don't think that's it.
Which brings me nice on Steve Bruce, who's sometimes obviously not being a town fan's cup of tea, but having a break. This guy had the audacity to take a break when he lost his mum, he lost his dad, he lost his job. And honestly, Danny Murphy, a disgrace. The guy is an absolute disgrace. There's some things, as we've talked about, with Dean earlier on, there's some things more than football. What a cheap shot.
What have
horrible,
I said all
what a
season?
horrible thing to say.
That guy does not do his research. He is a plague to the BBC.
We've mentioned that there's only 2 or 3 worth listening to, and the rest are all absolute creatures.
Danny Mills, Danny Murphy, get in the sea.
We're discussing
Get
that.
in
Steve
the
Bruce
sea.
had to.
And while we're on Danny's,
Why does-
Danny Higginbottom is different class.
Yeah.
It is. Why does Steve Bruce have to justify
Yeah,
why he's had a
exactly,
break?
exactly. It's absolutely disgusting. It's like it's been held against him and that.
Thing is, at the end
Sheffield
of the
Wednesday
day,
knew.
Sheffield Wednesday agreed to it.
Yeah.
All his staff went in there 2 or 3 weeks before he
Yeah.
did. They're never in danger of going down. They're having one of those seasons where they ain't going down, they ain't going up. So if he needs that extra 2 or 3 weeks, but they really want him,
It's not
what's the
often you
problem?
see an Alex Bruce. I think I've never seen as many likes on it, which to me just said the majority, the massive general public are just like were the same. I find it quite interesting. Like Guy Mowbray, who's obviously works for the BBC and with Danny Murphy, he kind of criticised. Well, he as good as criticised his colleagues, which I thought were really good. There's no way.
It's decent, this guy, Mowbray.
see, you just reminded me of a funny moment now.
Go on. Is it about
He's
Tony
gone,
Mowbray?
Neil.
No, Alex Bruce. When town fans got him booked and sent off when
Did
he
your
lost
father
his
teach you
right.
that?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, well, Alan Lee rearranged his face.
No, but I just remember him getting himself booked and then sent off just purely on back at crowd.
Yeah,
getting
we're at
sick
Sheffield
about his
Wednesday,
dad.
wasn't it?
Brilliant.
No, at town.
It was at town.
Yeah, but for Sheffield Wednesday. Were you playing for
He
Sheffield
was
Wednesday?
playing for Sheffield
Yeah,
Wednesday.
What is
yeah,
Sheffield
yeah.
Wednesday?
I think we beat them 1-0 and Johnny Worthington scored.
Either way,
He
class.
went through Adnan Ahmed as well.
Yeah, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But yeah, what you're saying on Steve Bruce is absolutely bang right. If they're happy if it will have a few weeks off, crack on. What's the problem?
Got a view on the title battle, lads? It's
Anybody but Liverpool?
It's getting interesting.
I honestly don't really.
I don't watch match at day anymore,
No, I
so
don't.
I
I'd
just
like
can't bring
Spurs
myself
win
to
it,
it.
but it's not gonna
Since you nicked all their
Spurs won't win it. Spurs finished third in a 2-horse race when Leicester won it.
Yeah, they
So
did. Well done, Spurs.
Yeah, Man City, Chelsea on Sunday. So that'll be interesting. So like Chelsea turn it on against us, but are they going to put that in? I must admit, it has put me. I'm trying to think of his other relegation seasons. Made me anti-football. This. I don't want to watch match. I don't want to watch anything really.
Might
It's
have
just
been
weird.
relegated. 2002,
last one?
2003 was the last
Was
time.
that to
we got
League
relegated.
Two?
And then it was
That
at
wasn't
the
it?
Let's
Macari
hope they're not
and
like
Bruce
us, is
one
it?
before that.
Yeah. But we've still got points from Twitter. So HTFC Dreams, the last one definitely this time, said Jan Ziva likes the 4-3-3. Mentions the layout, play on the runners in behind. An interesting one is who will struggle to adapt into that 4-3-3 system. And one player that sticks out to me immediately is probably Alex Pritchard.
to be honest, I just think it's too far in front to even look at that for me because you don't know
Well, I'm sure
the
he's
situation we're in now at
hopefully
end
looking
of the season, and you don't know what we're going to be playing next season, which players are still going to be here next season. So, for me, it's a tough one to comment on.
But in terms of a 4-3-3 system, you would probably say there are one or two maybe that may struggle to
We
get
might
into
not
that
play
kind of thing.
4-3-3 though. You just don't know, do you?
True. That's true. But if we do, I'd probably say Pritchard. I also want to see Congolo play more at centre back than left back as well. That's personal preference. Okay, so Nick Shackleton has sent another one here as well, Cozzy, where he's put, this is one I think which grates on you a little bit, Coz. So, were the underdog and humble tags overused? Have they ultimately contributed to negative perceptions of the club in the media? And do we as fans need to stop using them?
I don't think
grates on me.
I don't think so. It does grate on you more than it does me. I'll be honest with you, mate. I don't think so. I think the club are just trying to play down expectations, really, and that as well. And
I get it. It's almost like a siege mentality, us against them.
It does, because I always think that, and it's proof. If you think you kind of arrived at the Premier League, you deserve to have your place in the Premier League. I remember that idiot from Talk Sport saying when Huddersfield going to act, or it was someone else, when Huddersfield going to act like a Premier League club. But I just think when you start getting complacent, Swansea sound like they're in a real mess. Kind of another topic, but once you start kind of,
I think it's about talking yourself down a bit. There's a lot. I think Huddersfield Town's a great football club. I think there's a lot of things to brag about, if you like, about a football club. We run brilliantly. We've got a great chairman. We do all these things for charity. I think if you kind of playing yourself down a bit as an underdog, I think it only works in the short term. I don't think that's something you can keep up, especially when it's not.
It started at the beginning of the season with that. This season starts against Cardiff. That's not something anybody from within the club should have been saying.
Well, I think it was David Wagner always used to say we're not the biggest dog, and it kind of. I think he was the one who kind of did that through the promotion season as well. But
stuff can be held against you, can't it, if it doesn't go right? But
I'd like to see us build ourselves up a bit more sometimes. But I understand why they've used it.
The trouble is, there's so many cringy, Southampton, what do they tag? So we go again and all this. It's a lot of clubs have these mottos.
Modern football, innit?
Yeah, hashtag whatever. But you've seen rugby league, man. You have new beginnings. It's embarrassing. It's a new season. It's all the same. All rubbish, innit? But no doubt there'll be something for us next season. But hopefully it'll be we score a goal or something like that. That'd be good.
Negativity from Mark Harrison. It's not that bad really, but he's put assuming we're down. Mark,
Mark, are you a gambling man?
Don't do it.
No, it's not negative. It's put assuming that we're down. What are we wanting to see from the final 13 games? Can we save some face and pick up 2 or 3 wins and goals? It's hard to see where they're coming from, but what points tally would you say was acceptable to go down with? Derby got 11, then we're joint, aren't we, at the minute?
So it was Sunderland 15 when they had that bad season, 2003, I think.
I think they've got a 15 and a 9. I think if we hit 20 points, we'll have done pretty well, I think.
I can't see it, though.
No, I can't. We need Bournemouth and Watford at home look the only, but then
like Neil says, we need a bounce. We need that bounce, and with a bounce comes points. And if we get over 20 points, then we've had a bit of a bounce for me.
If we get to over 20, that'll be success now for me.
20 would be fine.
Neil's speechless.
Can't speak.
I've not to add.
You want to see a bounce, though, don't you? So I think that's what pretty much is.
Moy. Oh, where's he going to drop? Heffer's in there!
Robert Flockton says, realistic transfers for next season. What price tags would you put on Moy, Billing and Congolo? 20 million each for me. Min.
If you're not getting at least 60 for all three, you've done some epically bad underselling.
When Billing got linked for 14 million, I was like,
no.
I think you need to lower that. I honestly believe once you get into Championship, that's a big depreciation.
I know what you're saying, but I think you can still kind of say we don't need to sell, and you can still push the value up by not needing. And especially
the biggest thing that pushes it depends if how much the player wants to go.
Absolutely. Expect a bit disappointed, lads, if that's what you're expecting in the summer. There's no way we'll get 20 million for Congolo. No chance.
We should 17. I wouldn't take a loss on him.
Going down Championship, I think it's a game changer. I think for him
Premier, we've got to get moves first.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Exactly.
I think with the way people are looking at us at the minute, apart from Aaron Moy, I think a lot of people will be going not touching them with a barge ball. But Billing, because he's young and he's got that growth potential.
Billing will go.
But Congolo, I'm starting to look at Congolo and go, do you know what? He's not standing out anymore. We might be able to get away with this one.
If we're getting less than 20 million for Phil Billing, we're underselling.
Yeah, I think so.
In my opinion.
And Moy, maybe because of his age, we might not get the 20, but he's worth that to us. Yeah,
I suppose you've got to bear in mind that your Championship fees are ridiculous now. I mean, incredible last week, Sunderland, 3rd Division team spending 4 million.
Well, that'd been harsh. We got. Did we get 10 or 12 for ins?
10, I think.
it's
10.
So we got 10. We got 10 for
I think
Ince.
it goes up if they get.
And then you've got Adam Moy.
So 10.
So if Ince is 10, Adam Moy's 3 times that.
Exactly.
So you've got to be looking at 20 plus realistically.
The thing is with transfers, if more than one team wants him, then that drives the price up.
It's well within what Town need to do to almost auction these players.
I did read something recently, and I can't quite reference it at the minute, but it was about an agent and how it was like an agency, and what they do is they create false interest in people to push prices up so clubs panic and then pay over the odds. And it was an agent for somebody who just said, I'm not interested in speaking to you, but this is what we do, and I'll dig that out later, but I thought it was quite interesting.
That don't worry me as much as are we appointing a director of football. What I'm thinking of all the other way, to be honest with you. And I know this is just it. What's going on in the background?
Such a key appointment is that. A director of football should not be subservient to the manager, in my opinion.
Now, man, yeah.
He needs to set the blueprint for everybody to follow. And so, speaking of next season, if we do go down, this is from Alistair Wynn. Says, assuming that we go down.
Hey, win. We won't mind one of those.
The best thing is, Cosy, his Twitter feed is actually Magical Win, so...
I'll settle for a crappy win, to be fair, yeah.
Settle for an ugly win.
We're not magical about it.
I remember that back in the day when we were absolute dire at Leeds Road, I think we went, Malcolm McDonald said they used to play You Win Again by the Bee Gees when we were warming up. Yeah. And we didn't win till about December, I don't think. That song, I hate it when it comes on that absolute 80s, like, or 70s or whatever it is. It just reminds me. Ian Banks warming up with that stupid green halls. That horrible thing where sponsor were like 15 mile down. It's good therapy, this podcast. I like it.
4-3 Town it stands. Forestieri, Danny Ward saves! Danny Ward saves!
Yeah, so to answer his question,
what is it?
What would you want to do next season? Would you want to come straight back up again, being as though Premier League's been a bit rubbish? What would you be happy with next season?
Can I just get through this and get over this season first before I answer that?
I just want to compete. I just want to click through the turnstile knowing we've got a good chance of something exciting happening in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
That is minimum
Just
requirement.
want to go and enjoy the games. That's it.
Playoffs, forget. I'm not really bothered about
Yeah,
that.
no target.
I don't want to go to Chelsea and think my day's all about how many drinks I have and the rest you just going because you go. I want more than that.
I would like to, I know this probably won't happen, but on the off chance it does, I would like us to get our first automatic promotion since 1983.
Oh, Matt. Aiming high here, mate.
I would love that. But whatever we do next season, I doubt it will beat the highs of 16-17. That was just...
I don't think anything ever will, won't it?
We
Yeah.
completed football that year, didn't we?
You don't.
Game over.
Yeah.
Mido.
Insert coins to continue.
Yeah, next question.
I think...
Sam Dixon, same sort of thing, says, who do we need to keep for next season? Probably keep anyone we can, to be honest.
Whoever manager wants, then it's as simple as that. It's not we can sit here and say we want to keep these, want to keep them. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows who. I mean, you can say now, you can look and think, well, they've down tools, they've down tools, they've down tools.
That'd be interesting, Neil. If you had a camera in Canal Side training, it'd be really interesting to see who's really pushing it. You'll get to know now who really wants to be there.
Training at Canal Side?
Not sure now.
I don't think it's as open as what it used to be. Spygate.
Might have been worth a trip to have a watch. I don't know.
You can sit in McDonald's, can't you, and quaff your Big Macs and look over the fence.
Not for me anymore, son, not for me.
I think that's just
Other
it.
fast food outlets are available. KFC is next door. So we've had another tweet here which says, will it be Championship or Foreign League Bundesliga players to rebuild if we go down? Both should be achievable with parachute payments, but what's preferable? Does Rebbe's departure mean recruitment could improve, and did we owe Webber more than we think? Recruitment's done by a separate team headed up by Josh Marsh. He's the recruitment manager. The director of football, a new one, will probably oversee that. I think the director of football is a key role, but if we go down, Cosy, what do you reckon? Look at maybe signing proven Championship players, or stick to what we knew and bringing people from Bundesliga 2 again?
Not bothered, to be honest, Matt. Just people that are just going to row us forward. We seem to have lost our spirit and kind of that, Terry spirit that's stuck all over our stadium and the lampposts and what have you. But to me, it's people that want to play for Huddersfield Town and get us back up. Because you're thinking now, someone like Alex Pritchard, you think he'd be perfect for that championship, division, but the kind of guys of that ilk, I'm not. It's an hard one to answer to me, mate. I just want people who want to be there, and
The one thing we haven't got now is we can't compete at this level line because we've got 2 years of Prem money and backing, and we've got some Prem quality players in there, players that have experienced it. So that,
do you think the press will expect us to come back?
No.
I think that cuts us
I
some
think
slack,
your bookies odds will be pretty telling. I bet we're halfway down league for bookies for next year, to be fair. But that aside, yeah, it does take pressure off.
Some young players there that we've
it's not a bad thing. But
I suppose it depends how we finish.
I think we can't compete lines thrown out because it's
Well,
just
that's
it won't watch now.
That's part of the old underdog thing, what we've covered before, isn't it? So
I think a lot will depend how we finish the season, even though probably our team won't bear much, I wouldn't thought, resemblance to what walks out.
There's some talk of doing a Sunderland as well, though, or a Huddersfield Town 70s and going straight down again.
That does worry me a little bit.
Run form we're on.
Because you think, we're not just like, we're nowhere near.
I would imagine
anything,
with
are we?
the chairman we've got, we're set, hopefully not to do
I
it.
just don't know how you can just flick a switch. It just worried me that though.
I think he's more switched on, and hopefully if he's well and back at it.
There's only so much he can affect on pitch, though. To be fair,
If he leads the way he's done in the last 12 years, I think we'll be okay.
you'd like to think so.
But his health comes
Yeah,
first.
they've
Matt.
already said that
It
it's
does.
taking time
We
off.
won't go too deep into a private matter, but I think behind the scenes, I think we're set up better
Needs
maybe
some
than
help,
what we
does
were.
Dean? That club. It seems to me it's still riding on one man. It shouldn't be like
Well,
that.
that's where, for me, going back to an earlier point,
We
where
need a good director of football as well.
that we need a good director of football, but I think somebody more experienced in dugout could have possibly made a little bit more difference.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not saying go for the old dinosaur
Big Sam.
Moyes Allardyce approach, but just somebody more of a, I mean, we've said his name a few times, but your Kanovich type who's proven in championship level at more than one club as well. So
I mean, I don't know about you, love. I'm kind of looking at championship. I've never looked at it for a bit, and that's all. Ipswich have done, haven't they?
yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
No, I
You don't say
I
any
quite
team's
like
done
it.
that's got Colin Quanner in squad, surely.
No, Ipswich are the Huddersfield version of Huddersfield in a championship,
Yeah, they
haven't
are.
they?
It's a shame. It's a nice club, is Ipswich? When you go
It's always a
down,
good away day,
Yeah,
that.
it's
Cracker.
it's
Yeah,
alright.
they'll be missed that.
It's a shame for it a lot of ways, but it's got to be someone.
I don't feel sorry for him, I'll be honest.
I don't feel sorry for him, but I just think
Charge you
I
ridiculous
look
for
and I
away,
think
don't they?
there are people that actually deserve to be in their spot more than what they do. But
When your
it's
closest
football, isn't it?
rivals are at top of the table, that's not easy
Cosi
either,
says,
is it?
though, rightly, what they charge for
Rivals.
away fans is obscene. So
They do, yeah.
Off
I actually
your pop,
forgot
lads.
about that. Sling it,
off your pop, lads.
sling
Yeah.
it, do one.
Put a fork in them.
Sticky
And
tractors.
do you imagine how bad that'll feel for them finishing bottom if Norwich finish top? Oof.
To be fair, that's been coming a bit. I know the McCarthy, be careful what you wish for, but they've been struggling for some time. It might do them good, mate, to go down. And
Yeah, it could. Well, Sunderland good this
Bounce.
season, hasn't it? They're in
Yeah.
a bit of a renaissance.
They're enjoying it
Yeah.
as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
By the looks of it. So fair play. I don't mind Sunderland either.
they
I don't
spent
really
more
have
than
much
us
of
in
a
a
beef with
window,
them.
mate. 4 million, didn't they, Greg?
Wow.
They paid for a chant there, haven't they? We need to get one of our chants
They
going for
have-
Aaron
they
Moy
have
to
literally paid for a chant.
go on. You get that Aaron Moy chant going, and we can get another 5 million on top of that 20 that we're getting.
Oh, God. I blame
Half the
myself
world
for that. Yeah. Half the world away. There's something like that. He had lost 6-1 and, goodbye.
Yeah, so Watson, DPW 24/7. Again, similar sort of line, if you like. A look to next season, who stays, who goes, which we've kind of done. Who and what do we expect in style of formation, all based on 2 different 90 minutes. From by all accounts, Jan Sievert likes to play an attack-minded 4-3-3, so I expect that. Some big earners might have to leave next year. Derm, for example, might go. I'll probably leave it up to the manager to decide who's going to go. And
That's what this last 13, 14
Yeah.
games about for me.
exactly, it's
He's got a
difficult
chance to
because
have
you
a nosy.
because the like maybe not quite like Diakabi, but there might be a player who's been on the periphery might all of a sudden really suit what he wants to do.
And it-
Bakuna maybe, someone like that.
If he has 2 or 3 in mind that he thinks I'm definitely keeping them next year, they play every game now between now and end of season.
Yeah.
And other ones have got to either fight for the place to stay here or off your pop, lads, and sorry, but you won't be missed.
2 things are going that I'm going to not miss whatsoever. That awful Premier League anthem, goodbye, and that stupid thing where they put that ball on that stand and then everyone shakes each other. I forgot, did they do that in Championship, shake hands? I can't remember now.
I genuinely thought they were going to say it badge on shirts then.
Oh,
I thought they were going to say it dog.
Well, Watson, DPW 24/7 has the Scotty dog as his thing. It looks more like a Scotty dog.
And to be fair, there's no wrong with it. It's not as an avatar, but it's not a shirt badge, is it?
I don't mind it. I'm not that worried.
It's naff.
Him and that Instagram vlogger there, they're blaming us for relegation. Well, hopefully he will stay up. But he's the man to blame, that Instagram vlogger. I'm going
to find out his name and I'm going to...
I feel like inviting him. I feel a bit sorry for him. His face.
Put an arm around him. Yeah. Mate, this is all your fault.
5-0. Behind the scenes.
It's not really. So, last question really.
Is a lot, really.
Terrier Pete Green says, what do we have in the under-23s that can step up and excite us next season? And he's sending a 20-year-old to Brighouse on loan worthwhile. At that age, league experience is paramount. So,
Danny, you're a man of non-league. What's your non-league?
We said a couple. Well, I don't think we've got a really good way of developing players. Other than, even sending them out on loan, I don't see what benefit they get from playing in that under-23 team. But I don't know it well enough. But I don't see how we develop. Like Sabiri, whilst he's not in our first team, I think he's just sort of going to waste. To be honest, that's what worries me.
Chris Atkinson syndrome. I agree with that. So I like to dip my toe into player development every now and then, but in terms of the under-23, sending a 20-year-old to Brighouse on loan, is it worthwhile? So we do something quite different, don't we? We do what the class as work experience. It's almost like being back at school rather than a loan. What that allows is for a player to go out, he can still train with us. He doesn't have to train with Liversidge, Brighouse, whoever. So it allows him to still train and focus and sharpen on our top class facilities, if you like, and then go play for Brighouse. I think what's quite key is it, like Danny, you mentioned this under-23 league. What's not apparent in that is it's not full of players who are playing for a living. It's not full of physicality. So there are things that you don't learn in the under-23 league, such as how to win, how important it is to win. The player next to you is playing for his 200 quid win bonus to pay his mortgage. It's real football rather than something which is a little bit in cotton wool, if you like, the under-23 league. So they're there to play real football.
Ollie Dyson's dad works for me and he's saying exactly that. He's at Barrow now, isn't he? But he says that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is found out and kind of just driving there. Just little things like that, just coming out of your comfort zone, driving up to Barrow, cold, training kind of like exactly there. He's saying, guys, well, it's kind of matters, the mortgage and stuff, getting stuck in. It puts
that fire in them, doesn't it? And
it is.
The thing is, what Ollie Dyson has done, I can't remember off the top of my head because I've not researched it, but I believe Ollie started quite low and he's worked his way up. So what they can do with this work experience is they can start them at somewhere like Liversidge, where Lee Bromby's got, I think he might be still chairman at Liversidge. Yeah, so they can start there, and if they do well, they can pull them immediately and move them up a level. Shaw Lane.
That's what happened to Ollie. Ollie did that. Went Liversidge boss. He got 4 goals twice, and then he moved up.
Pull him out, put him up, and he's at Barrow. I think they're playing level 5 out. I think their conference out at the Barrow.
He got injured straight away though, but
he's a good player, is Ollie. So hopefully he's one. So in terms of, I think it's a different idea. It's a different approach. I can see the sense in it. It's about the physicality. You can't replicate that physicality. You won't get somebody smashing an elbow and Alan Lee's cracking you across the face. Probably might find him at that level, but you get it's real football. It's important. Winning is important, and they've got to learn that from a young age, and you don't do that in the under-23s. And in terms of who to look for, I'm quite interested to see Lewis O'Brien next season. Neil, he's playing in your patch, so to speak. He's doing really well as a box-to-box mid at Bradford.
They absolutely love him. Their season is currently clinging on by the skin of its teeth, purely down to Liam O'Brien and Jack Payne. Without those two, they would be bottom, stranded, gone already.
I'm looking forward to seeing Lewis O'Brien.
Lewis O'Brien, he had a few little glimpses in pre-season last season. Well, start of this season.
Great singing voice.
Yeah, and I think that he's getting back in May. When they come back in pre-season, and I think he's got a future. And it's only a level higher than they're playing now. Let's be honest.
And if we do play this 4-3-3 dynamic box-to-box midfield, which is what he did at Dortmund, he's made for it. Lewis O'Brien absolutely made for it. So in the short term, I think Lewis O'Brien and Jayden Brown, who we've got from Tottenham, are probably ones to watch. Longer term, I would say have a look out for Matty Daly, who's 17.
Matty Daly's and Kean Harrett seems to be bagging him in.
Kean Harrett's 16 and scoring a lot of goals. I think the thing with Kean Harrett is I'd like to see him go do the work experience stuff.
Yeah,
he's only young.
He's too young. Yeah, I'm not thinking first team, but he's
scoring goals.
Where's Matty Daly?
Matty Daly, I think he's been injured recently, but he's been playing for the England under 17s, 18s, 19s, and
He was part of the World Cup winning.
Yeah,
I saw him in that very
Euros.
friendly. He scored as well, didn't he?
Yeah, so he
very
again
decent.
is another box-to-box energetic midfielder made for, that kind of 4-3-3
Well, let's be
system.
fair, it's about time some of them came through.
It is, and I think what we'll do is the last agenda point I think we will save for our regular Claire Hill, who aims this one at you, Mr. Kosmala, where she says Town's pre-match playlist is in serious need of an update.
I've been in early last 2 games. I couldn't agree more with Claire, but obviously music's a
Subjective matter.
taste indeed.
So what she says is, we know how much you like the Hef song still being played, Kosi.
Oh man!
If Kosi Ryoki could take over, what songs could be played to reflect this new era of football? And I think it's only fitting that, just for Claire, you sing us out with what you would sing.
Well, I've had a change
before
of
the game.
plans from what I was singing to you earlier, but I'm gonna see, because not everyone might know that other song. But here we go. I could give you 3 songs, but they're all short.
Remember, it's pre-match, so knock yourself out.
Oh no, it's not pre-match. This is not inspirational chanting, but
Just fill your boots, son. Just fill your boots.
we'll win again. Don't know where, don't know when, and we'll win again some sunny day. My next version is, we'll score again. Don't know where. I'm going to fade it out and mix it up with a traditional anthem, which Millbridge bus people
All right,
will do.
DJ Smile, come on.
We never win at home and we never win away. We lost last week and we lost today. We don't give up monkeys because we're always on the drink. We are the famous Huddersfield. Na, na, na. The end.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears.
Pate's got a chance. Pate scores. Jack Pate scores.
Effort is in there.
Smith scores for Huddersfield Town. 3-2 Town. Boris Sherry. Danny Ward saves. Danny Ward saves. The Quattro's in. Round De Gea. 2-0 Huddersfield Town.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend.